Are live. Yes, we are live. Hello, everybody, and you are very welcome to today's webcast. And we are all things reflexology, and it is definitely one of those things. I know people go, will I, won't I, what will it do for me? So to answer all those questions, we have Martina McShane from Sean Oak Wellness joining us. Martina, how are you?
I'm great. Thanks a million for having me, Barbara. It's really lovely to get a chance to talk about reflexology. And particularly, I know at the moment everybody's a little bit nervous about coming into therapies and things. So it's really great to get a chance to be able to kind of reassure people about what we do and how we do it and why, particularly now, it's such a great time to go for therapies like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're very welcome. And I know you're based down in Wexford, but you're originally from up here in Donegal.
Yeah, I'm a Donegal woman. So.
But you lost your accent. You've left it behind.
It was beaten out of me when I moved to Dublin years ago.
So reflexology, I know when I mentioned it to my family, the first thing they think about is feet. Yes. But it's more than feet and working on someone's feet, because I know some people, they kind of go, oh, don't touch my feet. But actually, there's other areas that you would work on.
Absolutely. A huge part of reflexology is the feet. I mean, you can see the foot chart behind me, and that would be where the foot is a map of the entire body, or your entire anatomy. But we would also work on your hands. And there's a branch of reflexology called facial reflexology, and I have had several treatments, and it is one of the most beautiful, relaxing, nurturing, nourishing treatments you could possibly hope to have. And so much so I've signed up. I'm going to be studying it, I'm starting in 2 weeks' time to study it, because I loved it that much. The feeling you get of being cared for, minded when you're having a treatment is just so beautiful, and I really wanted to be able to bring that into my practice as well as what I do with the feet and hands.
Yeah, I had, it must be about a year ago, I had it was a reflexology facelift, actually, I think is what they call it. It was a zone lift or something.
Yeah,
that was amazing.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. And for anybody, say for example with somebody with Bell's palsy or anything like that, it can be really helpful. But people just go because they want, it's non-surgical, there's no drugs, and it can really bring a lightness and brightness into your face. Yeah, it is. It's fabulous.
So if we go back then, reflexology, what is it? What does it? What do you look at if somebody's coming to you and say, I think I would need some reflexology, or, how would you approach it?
Okay, well, reflexology, it's a holistic practice of treating the feet. There are about 7,000 reflexes in the feet, and during the reflexology treatment, primarily we would work the entire foot. So every part of your body is being treated whenever you get a reflexology session. However, whenever you come in, there is a consultation form to be completed, and that's a really, really crucial part of the initial, because you're building rapport with the person who's coming in to be treated. You're getting an understanding for where they're coming from, what's happening for them, emotionally, mentally, physically. It's really important if they have any chronic conditions that we're aware of it, for example, diabetes or high blood pressure. If somebody has a particularly chronic condition and they're under their GP or surgical care, we need to be aware and that they've got permission to come to us. So for example, with diabetes, if we're working the pancreas, it can, produce insulin, and if they're taking insulin, that can be an issue. So the consultation form is a really crucial part, but it also allows us to tailor our treatment specifically to you. So say for example, somebody's coming in and they have digestive issues. We know to tailor towards the digestive system, or if they're trying to get pregnant, we know the different reflexes to work on, or the endocrine system with the hormones and things like that, to bring balance back into the body, reduce the stress, and bring them into a place where their body is able to do what it needs to do.
So apart from it being relaxing, sorry Esther, is that my mic that's bouncing about in the background? Sorry, folks, just give me 1 second. There's obviously a problem here with my mic. Is that any better? I've just turned it down. That's the first time that's happened. But what was I going to say there? Yeah, so apart from it actually being a relaxing treatment, and I think most people automatically think, oh yeah, it's grand, it'll relax me. There is actually a deeper process that it is doing in your system as you are working on somebody, whether it is their hands or their feet.
Absolutely. In reflexology, we are treating the person as a whole. So in medicine, if you have a broken hand, your hand is treated, or heart condition, your heart is treated. In reflexology, what we're doing is we treat the entire body. It's no one organ or system is an island, it's part of a whole. So when we're working, we're making sure that everything is coming together in balance. One of the key principles is homeostasis, which is balance, and it's bringing the body into working at its optimum capacity, so that everything is coming into a balance, so that instead of being, huge amounts of stress hormones going into your body, we're bringing it back in. But in order to do that, we need to make sure that, the toxins are being eliminated from your system. All of those kind of things are coming back in, so that, like we would work a lot with, say, anxiety, but, stress management is a huge part of the reflexology stuff. But, people with other conditions, again, as I said, fertility is huge. But there's a lot of other areas. Lymph drainage is a huge one. So, for example, somebody who may have had lymph nodes removed, lymph drainage is another area that can be done to help people who've had cancer treatment and things like that. So it's a really, it's more than it's not just a foot massage. It's not just Asha, that's lovely. It really gets in and helps your body. We study anatomy and physiology. We complete hours of continuous professional development so that we're at the top of what we can do. Reflexology is something that I will probably be studying for the rest of my life, because there's so much involved in it, and I will always be learning something new.
Yeah, because the other thing is that, Esther, I'm so sorry. I don't know what's happening here with my sound. Martina, I apologize. I hope it's not interfering too much outside online for people watching. One of the things was, because you were saying there, yes, people, it is the relaxing side as well. But would there be a series of treatments then, or do you find that people might just treat it as a once-off?
It depends. I'm in the very early days of my practice, but a lot of my colleagues would have people who are, would come in for regular monthly sessions to keep themselves at that optimum level. And just kind of, they feel they're getting a little bit low, and they come back, and they have the treatment, and they're back in form again. They're back able to manage things. But certainly, like pain management, fibromyalgia, all of those kind of things. We can absolutely help you as part of your entire process of maintaining your health. Reflexology is a complementary. We can work alongside whatever medical intervention you're having, or whatever. And the reason we work so beautifully with it is because we're drug free. It's gentle. It's specifically tailored to you. It's a very safe practice for you to be able to have as part of your overall well-being management.
Yeah, because as I was reading on it, I noticed that there was a lot of emphasis put on pain relief for if somebody has undergone, say, a serious treatment, or they're on, very strong medication, that the reflexology can actually be used as a pain relief to as you say, it's complementary to that. And also another thing I discovered, and it happens to be something that is in this house, is Raynaud's syndrome. Yeah. And for people out there that aren't 100% sure what that is, all I know is, from looking at it as a mom, is their hands go white. It's like the circulation has stopped and their fingers go white. And I know even when they're driving, like my son would say, like, it's painful to try and bend the fingers. It's like they tighten.
Yeah. Well, actually, whenever you mentioned that this morning, I took out one of my books, and this one in particular, and that's one of the reasons that the consultation is so important, because I'm not a GP. I'm not trained in, I've studied anatomy and physiology, but every time there's a new thing, I have to go and look it up and figure out what I'm doing as well. But particularly for Raynaud's, it is a circulatory condition, and it tightens the arteries, which decreases the blood flow, obviously, which is painful. So we would work directly on the toes, which would be, representing the hands as well. But as well as that, and that's again what I was saying earlier about, no one area is an island, so we would work on the heart, the digestive areas, the endocrine, the kidneys, as well as the direct area that's affected by the Raynaud's. And that's one of the reasons that I love reflexology so much, because it's not just one particular thing. It brings in the entire body back into balance. But it can be used for circulatory conditions as well, inflammation, nervous system as well, because again, all of those 7,000 reflexes on the feet, it's directly connected to the nervous system, and we, again, work on the entire body, bringing it back into a balance. It's just beautiful. I love it. I really love it.
As you say, it won't be just the hands, but it's obviously connected to somewhere else.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's a circulatory condition. So we would work on the heart area as well. And we would work then on the other areas, again, just to try and bring the body back, because stress is one of the biggest issues that cause disease in the body. So one of the main areas that we would treat all the time would be the endocrine system. I remember looking at Dr. Harry Barry. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. Cognitive behavioral therapy as well. So I do a lot of reading about mental health and anxiety management and stress management and things like that. And his explanation around panic attacks in particular, but it's basically, stress isn't just in the head. It's not just in your mind. It's a physiological response in your body, So we need a physiological response to deal with that. So, when you see something that stresses you out, so, the boss or, somebody's having a bad day and shouts at you in Aldi or something, you immediately perceive that as a threat, so the more ancient part of your brain will go, oh, bear, I have to run, there's a bear or tiger running after me, and it will fire off hormones in the body. So the endocrine system kicks off and sends off signals in the brain to get ready, because you have to go flight or fight. And then, so the muscles tighten, the breath quickens, the heart speeds up. All of those physiological responses are happening in your body because it's there to protect you. And you're not even aware that this is happening. This is all an unconscious process. But in order for you, like, if you think about that, if we don't live in it, hopefully, in an area where there's bears or tigers coming after you every day, but you do have your boss, you do have your stress, you do have your bills at the end of the month, you'd have targets to meet. So you're constantly under stress, and your body doesn't know the difference between a bear and your bill at the end of the month. It releases the same hormones. So your body is constantly firing off those stress hormones to prepare you for fight or flight. And what reflexology does, one of the things that we do is bring the body back into that calm, balanced, relaxed, because if your body is constantly producing those stress hormones every day, that can lead to further disease and illness that will come into the body longer term for you and create longer term issues. So if we can get it early and bring that body back into calm, stop firing off those stress hormones, stop firing off those things that, are tightening the body, shortening the breath, your mouth goes dry because you don't need saliva because you're not going to be eating. Those are all the things that are happening physiological for you. So again, when somebody says they're under stress, they're physically under stress just as much as emotionally or mentally. And that's, again, reflexology is just excellent for it.
And that physical stress is exhausting.
Yeah, it is. I've gone through periods of stress and anxiety myself, and the fatigue that comes along with it is so debilitating, and you'll say, I'm so tired, and somebody says, a young one like you, why are you tired? And it's like, because I'm under physiological stress, and it's just exhausting to deal with. And that's why it's so important to deal with it and get yourself back into a healthy place.
I'm hoping. I can't believe my mic is acting up today. I'm so sorry, everybody.
Turn mine down as well, maybe.
I'll have to talk to my tech support in the background. Esther, is it any better?
Is that any better if I turn mine down?
Well, it sounds fine to me now, which is great.
Yeah, is that still okay?
Yeah, that's brilliant. Because just on stress there, because one of the side effects, certainly I know for a lot of people with stress, will be headaches. And
yes.
You know, and they're kind of saying, is it a stress headache, or, you know, where is it in the head, or things like that. So then if you are stressful, then by starting, you probably prevent then an awful lot of those side effects of stress by going to reflexology. And can that be done? Like, could people do a bit themselves on, you know, on their hands?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the points that we would work on is called the solar plexus point. And if you see my hand, it's just around here. So what I would often tell my clients, you know, if you're in a stressful situation, just press in here. You know, you can have your hands in front of your tummy, press in there, take a couple of deep breaths. So if you want to do that now, and just press on it and just take a deep breath in. Yeah, take a deep breath in. And just rub very gently and hold that space and take another deep breath in.
You can feel your circulation.
Yeah, yeah.
Actually,
and it's something it's so discreet. It's so easy to do. And certainly for me here now being live, I'm doing it. And you can't see me, and it's great.
Am I that bad?
All these little tricks that I don't tell you about. But yeah, no, I mean, so for example, with headaches, you know, another point that we would use would be sort of just here, pinching here. And that's an acupressure point, but you know, you could use it. But certainly, say for your hands, 2 thumbs together are your head. So we would use like what's called a finger walk, a caterpillar walk. And we would just literally, I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah.
Go across. So what you would do is literally caterpillar walk up your thumb, and not just, you know, the side of it. I mean, every single part of your thumb, the front, the back. So this would be sort of your face area, coming down into your neck, the sides there and here, and then down again. So that'll be kind of coming down sort of into your throat. So, you know, if you want to work on your hands, you've got your sinuses, your teeth, your eyes. So if you've got something that's toothache, or your sinuses are at you, start going up and down your fingers very, very gently. And just in relation to pressure as well, I know a lot of people are put off because they feel they're ticklish and they don't like somebody at their feet. The pressure on your feet can be as gentle or as firm as you like. That's why, you know, it's really tailored to you. So whenever you're in front of me and I've got your feet in front of me, I'll start to work, but I'll ask you, is that pressure okay? Would you like it a bit more firm? Would you like it a bit more gentle? And whether it's firm or gentle has no impact on the quality of the treatment or the benefit that you'll get from it. It's simply your comfort. So it's all about putting you at your ease. I have yet to find somebody who finds it ticklish, and I'm really trying hard to find somebody.
That's because that's the other thing I was wondering. Like when people think, "Gosh, I wonder, is it sore?" You know, because you'd be picturing somebody like at your feet.
Yeah, it's not sore, but we can occasionally come across areas that are tender, and you might get a bit of a jump, you know. But I remember working on my partner. He's going to kill me for telling this, but I was working on my partner, and he was getting injections in his eye for an eye condition, and I was working on him. And whenever I was working on the toes that correspond with the eye, he let a real yelp, you know, because he wasn't I was expecting it because I knew I'm coming to the eye, it could be tender. And he was like, what is that? And I was like, that's your eye. That's why, because he was getting regular injections in his eye. And since he's stopped getting those injections, he doesn't have that reaction in that toe anymore. Or, I was working on someone and they swore blind. They had no conditions that I needed to be aware of. And I said to them afterwards, I said, your hip is a little tight. It's, there's something going on. Oh yeah, no, I had an injury in football and I've been getting physio for it. And he was kind of looking at me going, you're a witch. How did you know that? Your body is telling me, like the lady who created the foot chart behind me is Eunice Ingham. And her book was called Stories the Feet Can Tell. And Stories the Feet Have Told, they are her 2 books. And so whenever we're working on your feet, they are telling us a story, and it's a story about you. And that's how we can tell what we can tell. So no,
yeah, like it is
not painful, but if you have an injury or a tenderness, we'll be able to feel that. And sometimes you have to work on the area and it'll loosen up the physical area. So like if I'm working on the area that's corresponding, say, with the knee, it might be painful, but you will find physically your knee will be looser and easier after the treatment.
Yeah, like it is fascinating because, well, first of all, I'm picturing you there at the end of the bed and you have the 2 feet up, on front of you, and kind of the story that they are telling.
Yeah.
Now for me, if you were to look at mine, I know I'd probably have a list as long as my arm of bits you'd have to sort out first before you even got to where it was I needed you to go. That's for me. Now, I did have it done once, and I'll tell you my very, very first, now it was years ago. But within about 15 minutes she was very good.
Yeah.
I started crying. Is that common?
Yeah.
I just burst, for some, whatever reason, out came the tears.
Every cell in your body holds your memories and your emotions. And we hold different emotions in different parts of our body. So she could easily have been working on an area that was holding grief or sadness or loss or whatever may have been there. And it created a release, and not just reflexology, like I've had people crying in Reiki, I've had people crying in Rahani, because an energy has been blocked and we have released that area. And crying is one of the most amazing things you can do for yourself, because we don't allow ourselves to cry. And our body, it's a natural response, and we need to let that out, because if we're not letting that out, it's being stored, and when it's being stored, it then becomes toxic and can create disease. So that's what, crying is one of the best things. I remember literally the day after my mum passed away, one of my neighbors, I was sitting down outside the wake house, and I was kind of just taking a minute, and he came over and he said, cry. And it was the best advice I've ever had. It was just, and I needed it, because we don't give ourselves permission. We don't allow ourselves to feel our feelings, and whether it's anger or sadness or grief, we need to feel them and release them, because if we don't, they're being held in our bodies and they're going to cause us difficulties further on down the line.
Yeah, no, that's very true. We don't allow ourselves to acknowledge what we are going through at any given time. We do definitely prefer to I'll put that in the box there, just leave it there, and either it'll go away or I won't have to think about it again.
And it never goes away.
And it never goes away. And unfortunately then what happens is things happen then further down the line, and this incident or emotion or whatever it is then starts to rear its head, and you're wondering why.
Absolutely, because because it hasn't been dealt with, it then piggybacks on the new situation. So the new situation occurs and you are inappropriately angry or inappropriately sad or inappropriately whatever, because it's not proportionate to what happened.
Yeah.
But you're not looking at the fact that what happened previously has piggybacked onto it. And that's where, there's so much more to just, like reflexology comes in, but there's so much more that we do, you know, like the conversations that we have with our clients, it becomes a sacred space, you know, and particularly, you know, reflexology is something that our feet aren't something that we show to people.
No.
You know, we hide them. I have so many people tell me, oh, my feet are ugly, you couldn't possibly work on my feet. And that just breaks my heart, because your feet are you. You know, when a client comes in front of me and allows me to work on their feet, I consider that a sacred privilege. And I don't mean to sound like, you know, it is genuinely a privilege to be able to work on somebody in such a nurturing way, and you know that you are holding them in that space. When you're holding the foot, you're holding their whole body. And there's such a gentleness there and a tenderness in that treatment.
Yeah, because
that's one of the reasons that people really
it
get
would be
something out of
quite
it.
intimate.
Yeah, it is. And it's, you know, again, you know, when I'm looking at your foot, I'm seeing the shape of the foot, the texture of the foot, the color of the foot. You know, is it warm? Is it not? Is it cold? Is there circulation issues? Is it hot? Is there inflammation issues? You know, that's so all, you know, if there's hard skin, you know, when I see hard skin, I'm thinking, wow, your body is so clever. It's protecting itself. You know, somebody else might see hard skin and go, oh, you know, I need to go to a chiropodist. And yeah, by all means, go and get it done. But what I see when I look at your feet is so different to what you would see, because I can see how your body is trying to hold itself, how it's trying to protect itself. You know, if there's lines on the feet, what is under stress? You know, is your digestive, you know, what is it that's going on for your digestive system, your muscular system, your skeletal system? All of those things are telling me what I need to do to be able to best give you the treatment that you need. And you know, any reflexologist I know, you know, gives their full attention to the person in front of them, because it's such a sacred time that you've taken to come here.
And I think we have comments in, Mary Carr there saying this is so interesting. I see, hi ladies, just wondering how long a session normally lasts, please.
A session is generally 55 minutes, for 50 to 55 minutes. You know, we do have the consultation form. Just a quick one now in relation to the whole COVID thing. The Irish Reflexologist Institute Limited have created a protocol for all of us. And I just want to really stress that the level of hygiene that we would have worked at beforehand was so high, but it is out of the park now. You know, we're having PPE, we have masks, we have hand sanitizers everywhere. I've had to completely redo my entire office, which I had just done. So that, you know, every surface can be wiped down, you know, everything can be cleaned in between clients, and there's a, you know, everything will be completely sanitized within an inch of its life before you come, after you go, and for every client thereafter. We have cleaning schedules and all of that kind of stuff. But yeah, so the consultation will be about 10 minutes. You're filling out a form, answering questions, and then the treatment will be about 50 minutes. But the consultation is the first time. You wouldn't have to do that every time. So yeah.
That's brilliant, and it's very reassuring to know that all these guidelines are in place for all the therapists, you know, which is okay, and it's understandable. We have to have them, but it's also a huge extra load onto yourselves as well, because the majority of reflexologists are on their own doing everything themselves. It's not like they call someone in and say, right, do you know what I mean?
We're all part of a professional organisation. So, you know, if you're looking for a reflexologist in your area, I would strongly recommend you go on to the IRIL, so the Irish Reflexologist Institute Limited. And there's another organisation called the National Register of Reflexologists in Ireland as well. They have a complete listing of reflexologists nationally. And they will be able, so you'll definitely find somebody somewhere in your area. But the IRIL is the body that I'm part of, and the work that they have done, the webinars that we've taken part of, like I'm scheduled next week to take an add-on for my first aid in relation to COVID. So we do work individually, but there's huge support and huge networking. And certainly throughout COVID, it became a really huge deal for everybody to be able to connect with each other, because we really needed to kind of get a handle on how are we going to deal with this and how are we going to make our treatments as safe for us and for you coming in. Because again, you know, I know lots of people are saying they don't want to go away overnight because of COVID, and people might be worried about coming for a therapy session. And I can guarantee you, we have sanitized everything. Everything is as safe as we possibly can have it.
Brilliant. Well, Martina, thank you. Thank you so much for coming on. I am so sorry to everybody out there about my sound. I haven't a clue what happened today, because we've been doing so well for so long as regards tech. Yes, if you have posted a comment, there is a new download via the messenger. You will be notified. There is also a link to our wellness conference. I think that is coming up here now. Hello, tech support, how are you? I can see Esther down in the corner. There we go. We are having an evening webinar at the end of July. It is free. It is based on workplace wellness now in our new future. So if anybody would like to attend, please just click the link and grab your seat. You'll be in the comfort of your own home. And you can get in touch with Martina at seanoguewellness.com. And even if you're not in her area, I know she'd be happy to help and direct you and guide you wherever it is you need to go. Yeah,
absolutely, no problem.
That's brilliant. Martina, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
I shall chat to you offline now in a moment as well.
Perfect.
See you then.
Thank you
Bye.
so much. Thank you.